I'll go ahead and just introduce a little bit, and then I'm not going to go too far into not going to make a lab and whatnot, because I'll definitely save that for them. But overall, we're just super, super glad to be here today. Obviously, I've been a part of the Pound for a very long time. And through Hodlperks, I met Not Gonna Make It Lab. I met Coco and whatnot. And I love what they're doing. I think it's awesome. I think it's for busy people, busy founders, or whether or not you have a job that's very time consuming or really whatever the case is. I think what they're doing is really awesome. And even if you do have lots of time on your hand, of course, the service and whatnot that they provide is just extremely valuable because they have a lot of researchers on their team. And so again, I'll just let them take it away from there. But before I do, I just wanted to mention that here at Huddle Perks, one big thing that our team and myself included are constantly trying to do is to connect brands to NFT communities that we feel would be a good fit. So we're really looking at us after the Doge Pound on their behalf to connect the dots with other brands and whatnot that hope to put community first, but also to allow a new benefit to take place. I just wanted to mention that. So really, we did here is we connected Doge Pound and we connected Not Going to Make It Labs, or sorry, Lab as a way to provide you guys with a new perk. And they let us know that they're specifically interested in really chatting with Doge Pound and seeing what they can do to benefit their holders more. So they're going to have an awesome perk here, and we'll get to that at the end and really what the details are of that perk. But leading up to that, of course, you guys probably are curious to know a little bit more about what they do, what their mission is, and specifically what are they going to be providing to the Doge Pound right now and on an ongoing basis as well, potentially in the future. So definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, from there, I don't know who maybe wants to take it away from the Not Going to Make It team, but feel free to go from there.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Hello, my name is Coco. I'm from NGMI Lab, and we are absolutely so stoked to be working with Doge Pound and supporting Doge Pound with NGMI Lab. I'm actually really impressed. I like the way you say it, Newt, because we've always called ourselves NGMI Lab, but it does remind us that actually it stands for Not Gonna Make It. And maybe I'll start with that actually, because some people see our name and think, oh, why are you calling yourselves NGMI? And actually, it started off, so a little bit of history about ourselves. We came together in Neo Tokyo, which is another sort of NFT community. That community, which we are all part of, kind of market ourselves as like an investor and business builders community. And within that, we wanted to find the best opportunities within the crypto space for investment, for playing the best games, and as well as other things like just finding out what the best investments and opportunities are. And within that, there were loads of different research teams in the research division of Neo Tokyo. And we got nicknamed NGMI Lab because every single research paper, research report that we created, well, not every single one, but majority of them got given the tag NGMI Lab. Not going to make it because basically the truth is that majority of projects out there probably won't make it because there's so much to think about when creating a business. And especially in, say, late 2021, there was like literally tons and tons of projects just popping up left and center, trying to exploit this kind of new gaming and metaverse boom. And we were going through, I think between us, we've researched hundreds of projects and really honed a skill for what makes a good project, what makes a bad project, what to look for in success, and all those sorts of things. But while we were in Neo Tokyo, we heard that there was a real problem that we could address in Web3. And there's four key problems, right? So one is lack of understanding in general, because this technology, this space evolves so fast. I can agree here probably that 1 week feels like a month or a year, right? Sometimes you're just like, I can't believe it's just been a week. And so much changes and so much happening. So it's really hard if you're like, as Luke said, like if you're a founder or you have another life that's not inside of crypto, to keep up with all of this and know how to assess them properly. So that's one of the problems. But we also find that like when people do their own research, it's quite a lonely thing. It's quite time consuming. And also you're just stuck inside your own head and your own perspectives, right? So it's a single and possibly sometimes limiting perspectives. At NGMI Lab, we realized that actually us as a team, and we all come from very different backgrounds. And when we create a report, like we have so many different perspectives that goes into creating that report. And the time that we've given to it allows us to create a perspective in a report that's easy to digest, is at the forefront of the technology, but also saves like the reader all that time that it takes to do proper research, that can sometimes be really laborious and lonely. So that in a nutshell is what we do. We provide reports for people on projects that they're interested in. So our community generally are the people who guide us as to what they want. But we also have, and sorry, I'm just going on and on, but so we have another way, a source of finding reports. We have two main sources. One is our community, and the other is because we have connections to several different VCs. And so some VCs we're closer with than others, but we see what's going through their pipeline. So we get a chance to not only know what's in their pipeline, but sometimes actually get information and put together reports for our community ahead of, say, potential investments. Yeah, so that's. I'll stop talking and give someone else a chance now.
No, that's super awesome. Thank you so much for really honing in on what you guys do and what your mission is. I'm just curious, just for those in the audience too, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here. But with your guys' different products or your service, what does that look like to somebody who's going to sign up or whatnot? What is that? What do they get? What's like necessarily the product or the deliverable for them? If you could just explain that a little bit more for the audience, I think that might be awesome.
I'll take this one. The main two things that we will provide are basically research reports. We have two different reports. The first one is what we call a silver report. These are perfect for people who have less time, who really want quick, a quick but thorough overview of a project. Usually it's 2 or 3 pages that explain everything you need to know about, say, a project. Like, for instance, let's say you want to learn more about the new SUI blockchain that has been talked about lately. Well, you can read our silver report. It's just 3 pages. You will know not everything, but you will know a lot about the project very quickly. And we have a big library of reports like that. You can basically just have an overview of these new, some of our project and some more obscure, but things that we found interesting. We also do what we call goal reports. We don't do that on every project, but every now and then there are some projects that are very complicated and we have more stuff to look into. So these projects, we will make a very long 16 to 32 pages report on them. These have everything, and I mean, it's everything. All the information you want, it's in there. And in both cases, most of it is very objective information, but we also like to add our opinions at the end so you can have more professional and not hyped opinion. Because in this space in the Web3, it's always crazy. Like will shield their project and everything's the new best thing, right? We provide more down-to-earth opinions about that. And lastly, we score project. We basically have a few different categories where we give a 1 to 5 rating on every aspect, and then we sum it up on basically a global ranking. So this is even more quickly. If you only have a minute or two, you can quickly know, all right, is this project going to make it or not? You can have at least have an idea. I think that sums enough for the main product.
That's awesome. Yeah, for me, there's so many different things going on in the space that I follow different like some different newsletters and whatnot, but it's really helpful to have a trusted, unbiased service that really you can look into and you can rely on to have your back. That's really the hardest part because even with like influencers and whatnot, you never really know. Are they like just pumping this project or they have enemies in this project or something? You never know. So it's such a needed thing in this space for really any holder. I would say if you're somebody who has lots of time to do your own research, totally use it as something that you can widen your net and you can get more information, more opinions on. But if you're very busy, it's also very helpful for somebody like you that might be like me where I have zero time. But at the same time, I love to make a little extra income from flipping or from really anything. If I love a project or whatnot, it's great to know, especially when it comes to gaming projects. Gaming is something that I have probably the least knowledge in. So I love that Coco touched on that. It's something, if you're like me, where you're not super into gaming, but you definitely want to jump on these opportunities. You want to understand more about some of these projects, why they're doing them, the founders, the teams. It really does have a huge benefit on that. It's super awesome. So you guys have two different services here, right? So you have a silver and a gold. And then basically it sounds depending on which kind of membership plan you have, there's a couple of different packages that kind of come with that in terms of what information you're getting sourced. Is that correct? Or hopefully I'm not saying anything wrong there.
That's quite accurate.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And would you say, so if you were to say the type of person who would want to either go for silver or gold, how would you go about that decision process for somebody who would choose one of those plans? I'm just curious if one is maybe tailored for more than the other, what would you recommend?
For most people, silver is what they will want because it's very quick to read. You don't have to like overthink it. Meanwhile, the goal reports are anyone can look into them, but they're more for VCs or people that really want to know everything because they're very long to read. If, for instance, our one of our longest report per million, I think it's like 38 pages. So if you're just more casual and looking to flip, you might not want to read 38 pages about a very complicated project like that. So yeah, that basically sums it up.
That's crazy that you guys have that much, that you guys do that much diligence into these projects. How, do you mind me asking, like, how many like researchers or how many hours does it take just to generate one of those gold reports? It
It
must be
varies.
quite a bit.
Yeah, it varies a lot. Sometimes some projects are very quick. Like if it's a project that we already know because of something else, the shortest it will take will be like something like 12 hours. I have no idea. I think it probably took 30 to 40 hours. This
30,
one,
yeah, I think it took 30 plus hours.
yeah, it
Wow.
was crazy.
That's not, that just shows how much value, in my opinion, that just shows how much value because whatever your hourly rate is or whatnot, maybe you value spending time with family or your kids or something like that. Putting that and delegating that onto the party and allowing them to take over that with their experts and stuff, I think that's just super valuable. So I don't know. I just wanted to make sure I understood. But yeah, it sounds like that's incredible. So great on you guys for doing that. I think I'm pretty much good on getting that. My last question I just had off the top of my head was when new reports come out, do you guys get notifications sent out to your members? So if I'm a gold subscriber or a or silver member, basically, do I get new notifications for anytime there's a new project coming out, or how does that typically work?
Yeah, basically, when we try to upload at least one report a week, and then we notify our community through various channels. So we'll do a tweet, and then Discord, and then we have a mailing list as well. If you want the report directly or the link to report directly in your inbox, we'll be sending that as well as it goes out. So people are notified as soon as possible, really.
That's awesome. So you would say that on general, or typically every week, you guys typically have one new report every week, or would you say that the amount is a little bit different depending on the week?
Most weeks we deliver at least one report. Yeah.
Awesome. That's super
Yeah.
cool. Super
Yeah.
cool.
I actually wanted to just take you back a little bit to the difference between gold and silver. I don't think I mentioned just a couple of extra things. With the gold, like what Frank mentioned, it's a little bit more to do with maybe what VCs want and getting into the nitty gritty. But we also look more into the wider market, say, of a particular project. So, say, for example, if it's tackling L2, if it's a new L2 solution, then we look into more than just that particular L2. You actually get kind of a broader idea of what their competitors are. So we do a much deeper in dive into the competitive market, the marketplace in general, the sort of market cap of that general market. So you get a picture of not just the project in of itself, but you get a picture of the project in the context of the space that it's playing in a much deeper way. And actually, one thing I wanted to mention that in terms of the scoring system, actually, this is something that's a proprietary, a bit of, I guess, tech, as you could call it, for us. So we took a lot of time to build our rating system, which is aiming to be as standardized across the industry as possible. And what I mean by that is, like I mentioned before, we've seen like hundreds of projects, and we are trying to build a database that kind of helps us keep on top of what other projects are playing in the same space and be able to compare them across the breadth of the industry. With every report that comes across our desk, when we do the scoring, everybody is scoring based on a strict set of guidelines that we have created and honed over a period of time. So that when people come onto our website and they look at the score, that they can see, like, in comparison with each other, what these projects, what the confidence level, as we like to call it, or the risk level of these projects are.
Yeah, no, I love that. Actually, I'm glad you brought it up. That rating scale that you guys have is super nice. Because yeah, you can definitely look at what you guys have reflected on in the past and you can judge your own risk level and whatnot, plan accordingly with your guys' scale. So I love that. No, super, super awesome. I love that service. I think you guys are crushing it. And I think it's going to be very beneficial to any Doge Pound members that take it up. I think you guys will get into a little bit more on the perk here. But do you want to do Coco? Would you like to add anything else before we transition into kind of what the deal we are bringing to Doge Pound is specifically, or is there anything else you want to touch on before we do that?
Just a couple of things actually, because we are like, if you map us through our journey of like NGMI Lab,
Yeah,
we came together in late 2021, and actually we only formed as a company after growing together um, just over a year after that. So we've only been like running the business fully for a few months, even though obviously the experience is there. But what I wanted to hammer home is that, we're offering this deal as a really get in at the ground floor, get in early, because we're going to be growing really rapidly, hopefully. So our library, for example, is the smallest it'll ever be. It can only grow. And one of the things that I'm really excited about bringing, because I think I've noticed that sometimes these investments and things can turn around quite quickly. And if people in the community suddenly want a report that needs to be in time with, say, an investment that's coming out, there's a couple of solutions that we have for people. Is that in the members only section of the Discord, people can start discussions and talk directly with the researchers and the experts. But also, as we grow our researcher team, we can actually deliver more reports at a faster rate. Really excited to tell you guys about that.
that's awesome. Yeah, 100%. It will just continue to grow. And that's the thing I love about this is if you buy in now, this chance that you get to buy in now, it'll just pay dividends over time. And who doesn't love dividends, right? And in the form of that, you're getting these awesome reports that can make you potentially more on your investments and stuff, of course. So don't want to promise anything there, but I know you guys are doing as much as you can to bring value to the people who sign up through your service there. Love it. Okay, was there anything else we wanted to touch on before anybody Doge Pound or not going to make it? Anybody else who wants to chime in here before we transition into what specifically this perk that we're bringing to the Doge Pound holders is? And then lastly, we're going to end with some questions. Of course, I do maybe perhaps need to hop off here in a few minutes. So pardon my abrupt leaving of the space potentially here, but I did just want to mention that as well. Is there anything else we wanted to touch on before we move on?
Hey guys, yeah, I was actually just interested. What sort of, if you could go into a little bit more, what sort of like criteria goes into how you are reviewing projects?
So we have a number of different criteria in when we go into looking into a project. So broad brush, some of the major criteria that we look at, for example, are like things like the team, the concept of the project, the sort of understanding how it is applied, looking at what blockchain is being used, who their backers are, looking at notable past investments for investors, looking at I mentioned the team, but yeah, there's a lot to go into the team as well. So we have these major, I think in the scoring system, there's about 6 major categories. And then within the reports, we delve in deeper behind that.
We also look into token.
Oh, yes, of course.
And something we didn't mention at the end of our report, that's just something really fun that I enjoy. We always put the pros, the cons, and the more debatable aspect of the project. So this is something a lot of people enjoy because this is even more quick to look into. You can have a very solid idea in reading for a minute of what the project is about. And this is also very helpful to just quickly be able to compare it to other projects and also understand what the flaws are because people don't really talk about the flaws of project in general for in Web3. So we have a pretty big section about that. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious what all goes into it. And maybe you'll have to share us the secret sauce how we can get a Doge Pound a good rating as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That would be fun.
Yeah, one of the things actually, the report which I particularly love is the fact that whenever we take a project, especially if it's something to do with infrastructure or something that's particularly techy, the report is designed to simplify the concept in your head. So what it is, what it's achieving, and how it works really quite quickly. Because I find that a lot of times white papers can be quite, what's the word, intimidating or dense. Our reports are meant to be easy to read and the opposite of your typical white paper.
Since you mentioned Doge Pound as a report, I just want to mention we just finished our template to search NFT projects, so the timing would actually be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be honestly, it'd be good feedback for someone like myself and other projects. Like I would like to see it as well, just for our own feedback and maybe things that we can learn on that other perspectives. So I would definitely be interested in that as well if we ever do one for Doge Pound.
For sure. We actually have another section of the business, which is NGMI Lab Advisory, which basically does exactly that. So we essentially walk through the steps of doing a report, but it's like a private agreement between us and the project or NFT project or what it is. And we just give brutally honest feedback in all the categories that we would normally report on as an exercise for learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. That's very cool. And you also said, I know it's impossible to review all the projects. Did you say you're doing it on the basis of what your community wants? Is that correct? Or
Mostly, we
Yeah, they're keeping us busy.
yeah, we also quite a few of us work in some way related to VCs and early investments. We do know what is trending behind the scenes, so we try also to include a few projects that we know from our network and connection that are, somewhat likely to be more interesting. But yeah, it's mostly community suggestions.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cool. Yeah, I like it.
Judy from Perks had to jump off, but I wanted to touch on the perk that is coming here. So what we get is, I believe it's 80% off of a typical annual membership. Is that correct, Coco?
Yeah, approximately. I think it works out exactly to 79%. But
Yeah, we'll round up. It's about
yeah,
80% off. It's $200 for the silver membership, $300 for the gold membership, which lasts for 12 months. And that 12 months starts from the day that you sign up and lasts until 12 months afterwards. It's not like a yearly thing where it's based on a calendar year.
that's correct. Yeah. And actually, to be technically correct, it will be, I think, 24 hours after you pay, it gets activated. And then, yes, 12 months from that day onwards.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for providing that to our community. This is something that's live right now, guys, on hodlperks.com. If you sign in with your wallet that has a Doge, you'll be able to see all of the perks from the Doge Pound. This should be on the top left. It was just added today. You can take advantage of this right away. One of the biggest questions I had was already answered as to how you guys decide on which projects to review. I'd also like to open the floor up to anybody in the audience who may have a question that hasn't been answered or that maybe you want something elaborated on. Please feel free to request access and we can get you brought up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess I can ask another question to you. You guys don't mind. Who do you see as your main target consumer in this case? I know people probably aren't buying and selling quite as much as they were. It's never gonna, I think we're all here for obviously the long-term reasons that the space will continue to grow, but you kind of have a target consumer in mind for your product.
Yeah, in terms of, so like I mentioned before, we actually have 3 separate, I would guess, main products. The products would be what we call NGMI Lab Report, which is what pretty much we're talking about now, which is our library of reports that we deliver on a weekly basis. And for that product, we're really trying to target people, this kind of new investor or at least a crypto investor, which I think due to the permissionless nature of crypto, I think that the investor community worldwide has just like boomed because now regular people like us have so much more access to early stage investments in a way that we never had before. And like I mentioned before as well, like how there's so much to just get on board with. We're really targeting those people who want to get involved, but don't want to spend the time and then finding the information out per report takes hours and hours. People were time poor rather, but want to get involved in Web3 and crypto and learn more and stay on top of a lot of the things that sometimes it can be hard to stay on top of in terms of either new things of knowledge and the latest projects and things like that. We do have other customer profiles. So we have a research as a solution product, but that's for being a filter for VCs, which is why I think actually our report library is such good value, because to deliver reports for VCs, like one of these reports would be around $500 per report. If you're talking silver, gold, the number goes much higher. But we wanted this kind of information to be available to more than just like the VCs who historically always get best access. We wanted people to have access to things like this, like you and me. So that's our main target profile.
Yeah, that makes sense too. And similar, like you were looking at the stock market or bigger asset classes as well, you'd have all these more in-depth subscriptions that you can pay for that. So yeah, no, I like the idea. I'm sorry if I missed this too. So I know you guys do, what was all the different types of projects you do? You do NFTs, you do a lot of stuff with gaming. Is there any other categories that you guys do?
The main ones would be gaming, infrastructure, NFTs, and then I guess within infrastructure, there's things like AI, which has been quite a number of recent reports due to obviously our community's interest in it.
I have quite a few reports on L2s and similar scaling solution as well.
So this could be even stuff like you guys reviewing, would it be actual tokens as well?
Tokens that, like, so for example, actually this week's report was one of the more interesting meme coins that's recently come out. So it gave us an opportunity to write a report and have a discussion around what makes a good meme coin. And obviously there's a token behind that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to ask them that one more time. You can really see the even more value. And a lot of us are here for NFTs, but if it can encompass a bigger profile for an investor, I could see how this could be extremely valuable. Cool. I love it.
Yeah. In essence as well.
No, go ahead, Coco.
There's just one sort of thing as well we wanted to bring about in our community is just like a sharper eye for seeing a scam when it comes your way. And what we're trying to foster, and I think maybe we've not been touched so much on this in our discussion, is the values that we have. We kind of foster these values of being quite anti-hype and resisting the FOMO and actually looking at things with a really clear, dispassionate view so that you can get the facts in. Because I think this industry operates quite a lot on emotions and FOMO, and especially when things are pumping and everybody's suddenly, even I can feel the pull of emotion when everybody around you is feeling that. And so what we're trying to do is be like an oasis for cool, calm, collected thinking. And so if you come into our Discord, we can have non-hypey conversations about very interesting projects or not so interesting projects, but not in a way that's going to try and make you buy something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question I have is, at what point do you aim to release a report on a project? Is this something that you're always trying to do like as soon as possible when something first comes out and hits the scene? Is this something that may come out just a couple of weeks before they're mint? Is this typically something that's after a mint and it's more suited towards someone who's buying in the aftermarket?
Usually we try, most of our reports are, I would say, before or during the first investment phases. Depends if it's a token or NFT, but we try to release project that it's at a time that is valuable. Because if a project is already something like, I don't know, XRP, it's been there for decades, not that long, but we try to be one step ahead of the market. For instance, we recently made a report on Sui blockchain, which currently there are talks of an airdrop. The token is not live yet. The ecosystem is growing. So there are opportunities to get involved in the ecosystem. So the report is pretty helpful. And on top of that, you can start getting involved in the community and if you're a farmer, airdrops or stuff like that. For other projects, for instance, we made a report on Super Oracle not too long ago. again, community that we know were involved in the earlier, and I think it was the seed or one of the early investment phases. So people that can buy and they can have a report before and know is it a good project or not. And on top of that, they were doing a nerd as well. That's when we try to release project.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great to know. It's always good to have all of this information and to have someone else do it for you, especially for things like Super Oracle, which was going around quite a bit. But in order to qualify even for their airdrop, they use some airdrop farming, but in order to qualify for it, you had to KYC, you had to identify yourself, which brings concern to a lot of people. You want to make sure you're not giving your identity to some random scammers. So it's super, super valuable.
Thank you. I think we think so too.
Is there anybody from the audience that has questions and we can help answer? You can also, if you're not able to come up and talk, if you're shy, if you just really don't like us, but you're here anyways, you can always type it in our Discord. You can type it in Twitter chat, you can DM me, whatever may work. I'd love to get any questions that you guys had answered.
Like we got dude bro came up. I'm very shy. And I'm here. Honestly, what's going on, guys? First of all, how's everyone doing today? Yeah, doing great, man. How are you? Doing good, man. Just living the dream. Yeah, I missed everything. So I'm not asking for like full recap, but I'm just curious. What is this lab research partner? Yeah, what is it? I guess is the question. What I got. What's going on with NGMI? Not going to make it studios. I'm not going to make. I don't know.
NGMI Studios coming soon with NGMI Lab. So what we do is we basically are a research lab for Web3 projects. We deliver reports which are part of our USP is that we're independent, unbiased, and do detailed reports so that you don't have to waste your time doing all the DYOR. So we support you in your DYOR or do your own research process. So that's us in a nutshell. And obviously the partnership with Doge Pound is that we're offering Doge Pound holders an exclusive perk. So you get an annual membership for 80% off the normal price if you want a gold membership, it's $300 for the year. If you want a silver membership, it's $200 for the year. And the difference between the two is that gold membership gets gold level reports as well as silver level reports. It gets them both. Gold is a much deeper 30 plus page, approximately detailed report on projects, which kind of very high level VC level reports, if that's something that you want. The silver level reports are designed for people who want to get to know a project in and out quite quickly in a 5 to 10 minute read, 2 to 4 pages max. Yeah, we have a library of reports on our platform, so we aim to deliver one a week. And obviously, as we grow, that number will grow, but we're very early days in our.
Okay, so these reports, it's just for people that are, I guess, they're traders that are they're trying to figure out like if the project's worth investing in, or what kind of reports, what kind of the 30 pages, like 30 pages of what? What are you guys like putting in these pages?
So basically, what we put in is everything you really need to know about projects. So whether it's the technology that it uses, what it's trying to do, who its competitors are, how it compares to its competitors, what the market looks like. So if it's playing in video games or something, like what does the video game market look like? So we go more into the broader aspects as well as digging into deep into the actual project. Whereas I would call the silver reports more of a summary report, gets all the main facts down, who are the investors, what does it do, does it have a good team, those kind of things. If somebody isn't going to sit there and read 30 pages, which often people don't, you've got the two options.
Okay, so I guess my question for you is, how do you guys find this information? Because a lot of projects are so mysterious. And you're referring to NFT projects, right? This is what this is about, right? Obviously, because this is what.
NFT, we do NFT projects, but we research on early stage crypto projects in general. So Web3 gaming, infrastructure,
Okay.
Yeah, mainly in Web3 gaming and infrastructure and NFTs. Those are our three big buckets.
Okay. So then what are some of the benefits? Because I've used other applications where you can see, I forgot this one app that I used when I was doing audit trades, and they'll tell you like just the information about the sales and who's buying it. What are what are the main benefits? Like why should I get your product before getting something
Yeah,
else?
yeah. So there's two really key main benefits that we offer someone. So the one thing I already mentioned was the fact that we do the heavy lifting. We do the hours and hours of research that it takes to get information and get the information correctly. Because like you said, some of this information is buried very deep and it's very hard. Like sometimes I spend like hours just trying to find a name of a human being who's behind a project because they've made themselves so obscure. The other side of it is actually, so we as a team are very unique. We have, if you've seen our deck, which I'm guessing you haven't, but I will share it again in the Discord. But we've got like people with backgrounds, video game QA testers, professional video game players, software engineers, financial background, medical research. And what our unique side of that is that actually we have a multidisciplinary approach. So every report is not just from a single perspective. Every report has multi perspectives. That actually strengthens people, like the overall opinion of what this potential of a project could have, right? Because no single person can make that decision. And also, we have varying levels of time and spent in the crypto and actually VC world, right? So we have between us as a team have networks that actually can ask, what's the word I'm looking for? Can acquire the information that we need. The networks, like I said, we've got quite a few connections to VCs and then beyond that. So when people are, say, doing raises for early stage private raises or something, like we have the people in our networks to ask and get the information that we need. That's not necessarily just hanging out on the internet.
Okay, that's cool. That sounds really awesome. And so you're I have a couple questions. I have a lot more questions. I know I'm high in the mic, but so the one question is, I know you guys are looking at those. You said 80% off. So is $300 for gold? Is that including the discount? So it would be normally like $1,000, or what's the discount? I guess you say is it 80% off $300?
No,
Or
it's the standard annual price for, say, gold is $1,390. Yeah, it's an interesting thing because we calculated that based off how we charge in VCs. And actually, that price in of itself is so much cheaper than what you would charge a VC, because VC would be paying for a silver report alone, at least, like I said, about approximately $500 per
what's a
report.
VC? What's a VC?
Venture capital firm, the big funds that
Okay.
there's actually so many active funds out there, and many of them actually don't have their own in-house research team, so they outsource a lot of the information to other research labs like us. But
Okay.
we saw an opportunity in the market that actually the information can be shared with the broader market. So the price point of $1,300 approximately is based on that. But like I said earlier, was like we have the smallest library that we'll ever have. Obviously, it'll always be growing. So as like a starter promotion, we're giving 80% off that for the gold and 80% off for the silver. So that final price would be $300 for a 12-month membership, which works out about $25 a month.
Awesome.
And then the silver membership would be $200 for 12 months, and that works about $16 to $17 per month.
Okay, so I have another question. So I'm a part of Doge
Yeah.
Pound. I'm a part of other communities. So there's one community that I have that I'm a part of is we have 90 members. We're an alpha group. There's a lot of like top traders in there. There's one guy, I think it's Liam. You could add Liam NFT, like he's very popular in NFT community. And I guess I was wondering, and this is probably another conversation that we can have, but is there a way to possibly get that same discount or some sort of discount with our guys? Because this is what we do, not full time. A lot of us have jobs, but we're constantly have alpha and different networks that we use and information. And your guys' information would be extremely helpful. And I think a lot of people will probably jump on this membership. But I was wondering that discount, is there a possibility to get that to my group, or is that someone I'm just throwing it out there? But we definitely would use it for sure.
They should all buy a Doge and then they would all instantly be eligible.
There it is. There it is. There. That's a good point. That's a good
Okay.
salary minus. That's a good point. Yeah, I might do that. There's an idea of us that we just
hook each other up and we help each other out with networking and things like that. But yeah, I'll let him know. If not, then it's okay. You can say no to me, but I'll DM you this guy that he's very connected with a lot of different top like NFT people or whatever. But I'll just DM. Is it possible to DM you or
Yeah,
to kind
yeah,
of
for
talk more
sure.
about? Okay, cool. All right, cool.
You can DM myself. Yeah, I can't answer the question myself. I think that would be a question for our commercial director.
Yeah, that's fine.
But for sure, yeah, and let's have the conversation. Or you can directly DM NGMI Lab if you forget me. Hopefully, I'm not that forgettable, but
No, no,
I'm Coco.
add you right now, Coco. Okay, cool. And then the last question I have is, which you guys have probably answered this question, but why should we trust you guys? What kind of, sure you guys have an amazing background, but what is it about you guys that I can trust with this information that is not just BS, you know?
We already have many reports, and I'm gonna plug that in on our Discord. We have some example of the reports we do. So anyone who's a bit curious, I encourage you just join our Discord, look into our free reports that we've made, read one or two of them. I personally believe they are good enough just to convince that you should trust us. The work, it speaks for itself.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out, and I appreciate you guys doing this. Is awesome, man. I just want to thank John and Woods for you guys like constantly just bringing partnerships. And even though right now we're in the bear market, I'm still excited because there's just so much potential. Everything is so new, and you guys doing this research stuff, I think is going to be amazing because there's so much scammers out there, and there's a lot of projects that people don't even realize. One thing that came to my mind was like you'll be a guy that he'll rug a project, and then he'll jump on another project, doing a similar project, and then wrecking again. And they have no idea that it's like the same guy because they're not doc. The information that you guys are bringing is so valuable because I've been wrecked myself. I got wrecked so many times, but thankfully I learned and how to do some sort of research. My 10 minutes of research before I buy NFT. You guys are doing. I'm excited about it. I definitely think I'm gonna jump on it. But yeah, I'll contact you guys. Just appreciate you guys being here and answering the questions. I know I just showed up, but I have a full-time job, so I try to join when I can. But I'm excited, man. Thanks, guys. Go Doge Pound. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's kill it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for coming up and for asking some questions, especially some that weren't already asked. I know we only have a couple more minutes here, so I want to get into a couple questions from the crowd. One of them comes from Janix, and Janix says that they know in Neo Tokyo that Frank has daily Hopium updates. Is that something that would be included in the yearly membership with NGMI Lab?
This question is so funny. All right, so we decided today to include it. So the answer is yes.
Let's go.
It's so true. Literally have
That's awesome.
That's great.
I'm gonna just fill my reports quickly because they are very simple. Basically, I just use super simple TA that anyone can learn. It's none of these super complex stuff with Bollinger Band and whatever. I use super simple TA, write about it every day. I make simple market analysis. And, I've called it the FTX bottom and then the second dip. It's all very simple stuff. It works and it's just a good read. I have super good feedback every day from people. So yeah, it will be included.
That's awesome. That's super, super good to hear. As much information as we can get is always appreciated. The last question that I have here comes from Crypto Playa, and just wondering if your guys' team discloses financial involvement in any of these research projects, if you have a financial involvement in them. I understand that maybe you wouldn't, but if there ever is a time, you're going to make sure that's very apparent.
Yes, it's not rare. We invest in quite a few of these projects, but usually it's not all the team. We always try to include at least one person that didn't invest in the project. Those projects, no one invested in. When we do, it's on the reports, it will be written with a dollar sign if we invested in. And usually we just talk about it. Like, for instance, I invested in Aceboard in our Discord. I talk about it every now and then, and we're very transparent about it.
Awesome. That's good to know. Transparency really is key in this market to long-lasting projects. There needs to be some level of transparency, and sure, the ones that aren't transparent can get a little bit of hype, but a lot of times they don't last. Thank you all for your time. Canute from Hodlperks, John Lemon from Doge Pound. Thank you guys all for being here and contributing. I can't wait to see what comes of this and start getting this research and getting to use it on a regular basis.
Oh,
Yeah, it
Thank
was
you
all
so much
fun.
for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
yeah. Thanks for having us, Gus. Much pleasure.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Love you
Appreciate it.
guys.
Hi, Chrome.
Love
Speak
y'all.
soon, yeah.
Well,
We'll jump in the Discord anytime.
yeah, love y'all. I hope you have a great day, and we will talk to you in Discord or on the next Twitter Spaces. Awoo!